Meeting called to order at 6 p.m. Let's salute the flag. Yeah. Lead us in the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Our February board meeting, a week early. It's President's Day next week. Or next Monday.
No.
Any changes to the agenda?
I have one.
Okay.
We don't have our, good for the order or new business or what have you item on there.
Yeah.
I hadn't, when I sent the email out earlier in the week and I didn't receive anything back.
But sometimes there's things that a board member might like to talk about or say that just aren't, an agenda item because there's no action or anything.
So
Just
stuff you want to discuss. Or have the opportunity to bring something.
or just something you might want to bring up or something. I think we should make sure we have a place where board members can say something, just like the public can say something that might be new. I think we have that opportunity when something is done. Check the agenda of most of them. They have something like good for the order or new business or old business or something else. Pretty common. I think it makes the board members feel more comfortable in bringing up something that they just thought of or just might want to say or something. But, it doesn't have to have one of these be a great old item.
So you're proposing we add the.
Yeah, we had it a couple of meetings ago. We put it on there and then it disappeared again.
6.5. Board comments.
Yeah, we could do it before the last public comment if you'd like. That might be better.
5.5.
Yeah, how about that?
5.5.
5.1. Thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate that.
Any other changes?
Just to note that the agenda, the preliminary draft agenda, that was in the Google Drive is slightly different. There was a cleanup done in the policy section. 3205 is only a review of the procedure. There was never a included policy. And so that was, so I got that cleaned up in the policy review and in the action items. That's nothing substantial.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of 5.5 board general?
I'll move
I
to
mean,
approve as amended
Yeah.
by, using the new one that was given to us today.
Good, second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Consent agenda, review of minutes.
I have a question.
Yes,
Um. Minutes. Section 4, election of officers, was it the intention of the board that the election of officers be tabled until following the appointment
yes,
of the vacant position?
yes.
So do I can include that?
We'll modify the minutes.
Well, we talked about it and we said, table it till we have a full board, but then we decided to
Okay.
just use February and then we could push it forward again if need.
In my notes, it was tabled to February, but I don't. So that was your recollection, but
I remember
that's how it
we
was
talked about it, that
stated.
we wouldn't want to do it till we had a full board, but we put February on there because you never know. Things might change.
Right.
The time we were discussing.
Mhm.
No,
We didn't have time.
Until no, we didn't.
Until there
We go to
wasn't-
February and see what
Right,
happens.
yes.
Okay,
And then.
so the minutes are correct.
Yeah.
There just needs to be,
Further,
well, I don't know. It's not on the agenda because after that point, the board didn't,
Pretty obvious.
was intending to wait until after. a point.
Yeah.
right,
But we
Okay.
probably
Just wanted to
should
make,
say something at some point just to make sure that it's very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
okay.
Yep.
Here, then we'll bring it up under other.
There you go. Good, we have to. Pretty good for minutes. Okay, then let's move on to the vouchers. General fund. Payroll and benefits.
I have a question. We're looking at, what are we looking here? Payroll? AP
General
vouchers.
fund, we'll start with general fund, but. We're good with that.
I have a question on the vouchers. That's the same thing as the
Let's-
invoice list, right?
there's,
So. Can you help me out here, Bob? So if I find something on here, like the PUD bill. And this is the detailed report of expenses. Should the amount match what's on here?
good question. And this is similar to a question that Diane asked me. She was asking about the account codes, but your point is, do these bills,
We're paying
In
less
AP.
months with this bill? No,
so,
with this payment, I mean,
okay, there's the two reports, the AP, the board is approving these payments
right?
for the end of this month. The other report you're holding up, that's activity through last month.
Okay.
So, right?
Well, I figured it had to be 2 different months. Because the
Right,
numbers don't
because the
match.
numbers don't match.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. Well,
good
that's
question.
what- But I was going the opposite somehow, so, okay.
So since you bring it up and we're looking at the first line, that's a whole string of numbers. They correlate, and if I do just a little bit of jumping back and forth to your point, there's the 9,800 there.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
I mean, there's some other numbers in front, but that 9,800, that set of numbers is going to correlate to the
The number, the first two numbers of.
Here
this
we are,
pamphlet. Okay,
the detail report. And if I'm gonna scrolling down, this guy right here, the budget detail report. I'm looking at the very, very far left-hand side.
right,
This is the
okay,
32, this is the 13. I'm gonna keep scrolling down until I get to the 98. And there it is. So there's
Okay.
the 98. That 98 corresponds to the 9,800. So that tells us that I'm jumping back over, and I apologize for all the jumping around. Sure enough, food. Yeah, this is a purchase of milk, and that's why it shows up in that section. That section was food services.
okay. Well, I knew they correlated,
Yep.
at, for some of the things, just a few of them. But, so I wanted, and it does say this is as of January 31st, and this is February action.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. Well, thanks, I appreciate that.
So as far as making sure that things are billed to the correct part of the budget, Lisa works with Kristen. Kristen does the budget side, Lisa does the AP side, and make sure that they're billed correctly to the budget. So if you have, it's a lot of numbers. If you ever want to just talk that through again, have those things side by side, so we're not jumping around back and forth. Totally willing to do that. Lisa, of course, could also do a great job of that too. Either one of us to be available to help you out.
So will Kristen participate with us via Zoom or something through the budget process, or is she pretty much just going to be feeding information to Lisa and to us?
If she might be available to the board if we get to the point in the budget where we just really think we need to hear from her. But for the most part, we'll let her know what we need her to produce.
Okay,
She's fantastic at pulling those reports and providing that information for the board. And I'll just share that back to you.
okay.
She's not planning on joining board meetings in the evening on a regular basis.
No, it's, unless there's a particular workshop or something where we want her to play with numbers while we're there, but probably, I don't know that it's needed, and that would be up to you. So,
It might be as part of our contract with them.
yeah. Well, then I have a couple AP questions. Can you educate us about these payroll processing, communications, and programs that we're paying? That's probably an annual payment of the business management program. Are there's apps or on the AP voucher list?
Which page are you on?
Under page 4.
Mhm.
There's 2 on page 4 and 1 on page 5. But it says program, so I thought that might be an app, and then it says communications retainer, so that might be some services.
Yes.
And then business management says program, so I thought that might be another app or something. There you go, right there, up there, right in the middle. Business management.
But
program.
that's
her.
that's Kristen.
That's Kristen.
Oh, is that what that is? That's a.
Because that's payment to
that's our
ESD, which is actual
contract with
contract for
ESD,
our
okay.
business manager.
Business management, should say financial management, so Nita can understand.
So several contracts, ESD 112 services. One of
Okay.
them is
And
communication
that is an
support.
annual fee, or? We see that amount every month, or?
Oh, that is the business management is going to be monthly. The communications is quarterly.
And that's ESD too?
Mhm.
Okay.
What about payroll?
Because I don't think I noticed those in, before, so I must have just kind of spaced over them or something.
Yeah, you're asking me if that payroll contract is quarterly or monthly?
Yeah. Must be quarterly.
I think so. We're not paying
We're
that
paying
much for payroll,
$34
no,
a month for-
no.
In the description.
Yeah.
Whether it's quarterly.
That would be really, yeah.
Yeah, what they do for communications and.
Right, so just in the description,
Mhm.
quarterly, payroll
Mhm.
possibly, just 3 letters.
Yeah.
The other questions on so our QB bill. That's not even for January, it's that, that's for like December, November.
Uh, I did not even see those bills. I don't know if that is 2 months from the reading. I don't know.
That Diane told you.
No.
Is it 1 month, 2 months, so. I mean, we pay ours monthly, but
Mhm.
yeah. I. We'll find out next month. If it's a monthly or 2 months.
Payroll,
Cool things. One of the cool things about that is that we're able to take a look at to see where we're at with our PUD bill. Like, so going through active through January at least.
I'm sure it's. Because I'm just looking at some of that stuff. I thought you would probably know.
That 97, 65. Well, there it is. So this is
It is on that one, because that's
97.
the one I was using as a sample to try
Yeah,
to match numbers.
65. There's our utilities,
Yeah, so it's a monthly bill.
monthly, year to date, budget, we're on track.
payroll, 1,669, just warrant registered.
A comment from our payroll officer that the payroll warrants include sick leave buyback for some employees who are eligible and a sub reconciliation. So sub is the health benefits. So there was some kind of reconciliation necessary there. And that's included in that the payroll there.
Full budgetary bill with that. And motion to approve the consent agenda. There's a second.
I'll second.
Seconded, any discussion? None, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Public comments.
Having listened to the interviews last time for appointed position, I think it's really important that the board have questions that are consistent with each applicant.
Okay.
So those are the questions.
Thank you. Don,
I'd like to get a copy of December's meeting minutes.
I think
And when
Post-
you guys-
that is our.
Can be available in the office.
When you get down to policy changes, are you gonna adopt the policy for term limits?
Are we gonna adopt the policy for term limits? I don't believe there's.
Well, the state and MASD is on 2 years for the chairman. And then somebody else takes.
Any other comments?
I tried to find something. I left the flyer at home in my other bag. But I happened to, come across a flyer that was handed out to our 7th grade girls about a camp that's being offered at the Mount St. Helens Institute this summer. And so I called Geo Girls. I have a screenshot of it here. And I thought, oh, that looks really cool. They've been going about volcanoes and rocks and stuff. So when I read more closely about who it's for, this is gonna be something, August 12th to 16th, 2024. Who is it for? It's for cis and transgender women. I didn't know what cis meant. I had to ask that up. It just meant that's what I was born as, and as I choose to identify that way. But the transgender women. So I had just posted before I came to work that morning of a gentleman who was a New York University professor, a 50-year-old man who identifies as a 16-year-old girl. And he is on a girls' swim team in Canada. This is like a real thing. And it's caused quite a little ruckus with the parents of their daughters, 8 through 15-year-old girls on a swim team with this man showering and dressing in their locker room. So anyway, I just want to make sure if as a school, we're gonna hand out flyers that say that parents understand what that means. That means there could be, heaven forbid, some 50-year-old man who identifies as a 15-year-old girl in their 14-year-old daughter's cabin at camp. Or maybe not so extreme, a 17-year-old biological male in a cabin for several days with their 12-year-old daughter. I don't know if parents are aware of just what that looks like. It looks like just trendy wording on paper, but what that might look like in their daughter's cabin. If I was a parent, I would just, anyway, I just caught my attention. That's all.
So follow-up question is, did you approve this flyer going out? If not, who has it out in time?
I brought it up to Mrs. Herman, and she was horrified because her email version did not have that sentence on it. So when she read it, the email version seemed fine. And then this was printed and handed out. So it's for 7th grade girls, 7th and 8th grade, and then girls graduating from 10th and 12th grade. And anyway, it's
What's
just
the name of the-
world we live in.
I didn't mean to interrupt. What's the name of the camp?
It is Mount St. Helens Institute, Geo Girls, Science and Technology Camp for girls at
Huh.
Mount St. Helens.
Is
That's
the-
put out by the
is the-
USDA,
Yes,
First I've heard of it.
the federal program.
Those flyers got handed out here.
yes. And I have this one at home. I don't know, I just saw that.
You know, who we're handing them out.
Yes, me as the teacher, because I was given. others in the back.
Yeah.
You gave you.
I get things for you.
Yeah, bring it up. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Robin.
Anytime we want.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest the discuss that. Workshop. Discussion. Okay. All right. Reports, budget report.
Budget status report.
I will interrupt and say that it, I think we're what, 39% through the year? 40% or so, just.
Approximately
Yeah,
40%
so
of the way
that
through the
always
school year.
helps me when I read this. The other report we have has a percentage on it. And this one may have, sometimes it just takes my eyes a while to find it.
Top section again, revenue. As far as the structure of this, this is an auto-generated report in the system by business managers. It's incredibly standard for all districts. The budget detail report we have internal, and so we have a lot more control over that. But keeping that in mind, that this is activity through January, you can see that in the upper left-hand corner. Reporting month is January, activity through January. 5 of the 12 months, right about 40% of the school year. We have approximately 37% of the expected revenue. And our expenditures a little under that. Now, again, our monthly revenue is almost all from the state apportionment. That, of course, is higher, lower. Last month, it was like 185,000, down just under 170,000. So it's all over the place. But we're on track roughly with expenditures and revenues. Currently, in the black is expected, on track. I asked Kristen if she had any comments she wanted me to pass along. Nothing special or noteworthy. She feels good about where we're at this point in the year. Programs. Oh. Second page, capital projects. Nothing going on there. Third page, of course, ASB. They're raising some money, they're spending some money. They're not spending more than they raise. Good job, kids. And the transportation vehicle fund. Nothing happening. Nope. Nothing going on there. The budget detail report includes that column. Those 3 columns on the right. And one of those at your request, Anita, that there be an easier correlation between the 2 documents. In that first row, the program 01 instructional. You'd ask for an easier correlation between the 2 documents. And so that's there. So you can go back and forth on the expense side, of course.
I do one more thing if it's possible.
Oh, yeah. It's all for you.
If these pages were numbered, like the rest of them are 1 through 7 and stuff, then when my printer spits them out in the wrong order,
Oh, no.
I can get them back in the right order.
Okay. Yep. I'm sure we can add page numbers.
Page numbers.
Would you like them on the top or the bottom?
No, wherever you put them is fine with me.
Okay.
Which is what my printer did
You
this
don't,
morning.
you don't, oh, no, you don't have all your
And I'm
count
going, okay,
numbers
there's the number
memorized or in
32, then that should
order.
be 33.
Oh,
and-
no, no, okay,
So
We'll
yeah,
get
that'd be
you.
super if you had page numbers on them.
we'll get you page numbers. So, again, like we already established, in fact, I was
Oh, I thought,
doing the calculations there. I was curious. Yep, here we are,
I like the
5/12
percentages there, that just
five-
it makes a huge difference.
5/12 of the way through the school year, 5 of the 12 months, 42%. So we're right there on track. Other things that we've been watching a little more closely, food services. Now, of course, that's going to be 5 of the 10 months. This food is served and right on track. That's right about half the year. Transportation, just under 50%. And that just makes sense. Also, so in good shape on both the revenue expenditure side. Nothing else noteworthy from Kristen or myself. Which is a good thing compared to some of our neighboring districts. So,
Good.
man,
Poor, oh, so sad.
some hard times out there. Would you like the
Any other comments? Or questions?
No, I'm fine, great.
All right, superintendent report.
there? Here we are. Safety update. Our E3 safety emergency app is up, fully operational. Everybody trained. We conducted our first successful safety drill, the E3 draft app. And it was really good tool to have. There was one concerning glitch with some people not getting notifications on their phone in time. We reached out to E3. They were already aware of it. They already had the fix. It was being released in the next update. And so that was great news. I'm coordinating with Skamania County Sheriff Office and the 911 dispatch so that in the event there is a real alert or emergency notification that through the app, they would automatically receive that alert and any of the corresponding information about where students are, where staff is, potentially where the event is.
Can you go back a step and
Mhm.
this app is for staff only?
That's right. Yeah, staff and first responders. Yeah. So it's up, it's in place, good, successful first drill. Next is a lockdown. We have invited Skamania County Sheriff to be on site just to provide feedback.
That's the next drill.
Yep, the next drill. Yeah,
When is that scheduled for?
later this month. Yeah. Last month I talked about updates to the emergency operation plan, and in the tabletop exercise that ESD 112 facilitated with our safety team here. We learned we learned a lot about our processes, but organizationally, our team has changed a lot in the past. Was it 2017, our previous EOP? Changed just a little bit in those 6 years. And as that continues to be refined and revised with the team, we'll have that ready for the board, not this month, but March and April, just more iterations with that team review, especially. making sure that it's complete. And as recommended, the structure of DOP's emergency operations plans has changed quite a bit. It was like, instead of a 200-page document that would not be very useful
Right.
in an actual event, recommendation nationwide is that be much more scaled down. So looking into that, making sure that it's complete and also useful. So those are not pretty pictures. I wanted to provide a
Just do that.
facilities. Yeah.
So when we approve
Yep.
this, there's
Mhm.
certain aspects of our emergency plan that would be private.
As far in those aspects that would be private would not be contained within the operations plan. Yeah, the recommendations for how we respond in some of those
Are not in the
events,
emergency
and active
plan.
shooter drill, those are not included in the
Okay.
OP.
So the full emergency operations plan would be available to the board and the public.
Well, that would have to be available to the public because presented and approved by the
Right.
board in a meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great.
There have, following the re-roof of 2018, there have been some problems with our roof. Tim Boucher, right here, has worked with me.
Wait, what?
He's worked with me well to, with me, and the roofing installer, at both January 22, December 22, those past two winters, and again, this past snowstorm, again, roof failure at one of those points. As you can see, damage in the ceiling, damage in the floor. On the one hand, they had a guy come out and address the issue, but the fact that there's been water damage in that location, especially for multiple years, I reached out to ESD 112, risk assessment group, and they initiated a claim on our behalf against McDonald and Weddle, and providing some direction for the district and making sure that McDonald and Weddle is accountable for any of the costs necessary. We're talking about potential damage in the structure between the ceiling and the roof, in the walls. There's an electrical sub panel there, some damage to subflooring, who knows what else, on a load bearing wall. And so it could be potentially
Yeah.
expensive. So we have ServPro will be coming out, and all of this now following ESD 112 direction to make sure that our process is complete and Donald Whittle is footing the bill if there's damage like we believe there is. So
So is that on the guys fixed it?
yes, yeah, that's
What
the
if we-
installing company.
At least you didn't say it was a pre-existing condition.
So
So does it, while we go through this whole process, is there anything that causes any interruptions or changes we have to make to Oldham School? No?
No mold issues or anything like that. Not at this point.
if any of that exists, it would be inside the walls. And we would have to just wait until students were released. They could manage that over spring break or over summer, so it's not disrupting our school year. Just giving you a heads up on that. Good,
Yeah, thank
good.
you.
Looking ahead to next year, I've already shared a survey, staff and teachers, getting feedback about some of the flexible parts of the school year. Once I get all of those survey results back, we'll have a draft calendar. We'll present that to the teachers union. It's now a negotiated item and should have that ready for board approval in the March regular meeting. just looking ahead, already starting to talk about 2020, 24, 25. We typically have had dedicated half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, in just discussing facilities. So there's been times where we've scheduled a special session for that. I just wanted to check with the board. See if you wanted to try to cram that into a regular meeting, or if you'd like to have a special session for that.
I think take time to understand where we are on our facilities, prioritize changes in the board, and feel like that would be worthwhile.
We don't have any problem with the special session, as long as we wait till we have a full board.
So, yeah. March, April, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have preference?
But we have a plan to have it seated. It's like a board member for a month.
Well, we
That
should, because the
process.
deadline for returning applications, interviews are already all scheduled for the end of February, so.
I'll, how about if I just post some dates? Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We completed our mid-year student assessments. And it's been kind of a short turnaround between these 2-month meetings. So I'll have that mid-year learning report ready for the board next month. And it is just about time to start conversations about the 24-25 budget.
No, we're not planning out.
Oh, wow. That is not,
Gotta pass it ahead of you.
I gotta take that.
wow, definitely not. Good eyes, Eric. Nope, just the 24-25.
Okay.
So next month, just a light conversation, proposing the sequence of meetings, kind of lay out the process there as we have the past couple of years. Review the estimate, the revenue estimate calculator, which is an internal tool we have. And well, should also have by that point confirmed IPD from the state. They've changed their process and are releasing the implicit price deflator, the percentage increase in revenues that they're proving on an annual basis. We should have that by that point, so that'll help. So, and then just do an introductory overview of the 4-year budget summary worksheet. No deep dive, just an introduction to it, because we'll be referring to that frequently through the process. So that's a start to that in next month. Cool. All right. That's what I have for you this month. Any questions?
There's no events coming up. What are the upcoming events for volunteer or kind of like whatever, we have a certain day in the school with well,
there's some Valentine's Day stuff. PTO has done a little something. Not so much. Those will start in March. You've got Dr. Seuss Day, a lot of reading happening there. Spring starts happening. The PTO has some other events scheduled. Music in Malay all the way on May.
Well, let's bring up.
Okay, I got a whole list. First, we have a fire truck right here across the parking lot. Did you know?
I saw it brought in last weekend.
Not only do we have a fire truck, the reason, oh, sorry. I think we should make this a little bit more in curve so we can see it a bit, but the reason we have a fire truck is because we now have 2 firefighters in Milling. The fire district could not put a truck up here without someone to drive it. So we have a fire truck here in Milling in the fire hall. We have 2 firefighters. And we also have a fire truck at the cook station, which, so all this will kind of fit right into your plan there for whatever you might be doing relating to safety and that kind of stuff. The fire truck in Cook at the Cook Fire Hall is a brush rig.
Okay.
And the fire truck here is a fire truck. I guess you don't call the brush rig fire, it's something else. I'm not sure about the right terminology. So anyway, that's very exciting for our community, for our school. And the Fire District 1 is going through their evaluation, which happens every 3 years or so, which ranks the fire district. And unfortunately, with only 2 firefighters here, and they have lost some firefighters in the other areas, that they don't anticipate their rating will be going up or changing, which is a little bit sad because that's what impacts our insurance rates. But they've had some people retire because of, you know, they're old and tired and hurt and sore. So they don't have as many firefighters in Stabler as they've had before. They only have the 2 firefighters here, and they only have 1 or 2 in Home Valley. The majority of firefighters are coming out of the Carson neighborhoods. So until they can get more firefighters, they don't anticipate that their rating will go up. So that's kind of sad. The rating process isn't done yet. They're still in the process of doing that, but that's very exciting to have fire trucks here. So. Anyway, next on the list, I really think that, I'd like to find out from the public. You know, most of these documents that we go over in our meeting are available online, like the budget and things like that. But I believe most people at home don't have the ability to print several multiple page documents. And I really think it's a good idea for us to have these documents available, the minutes, the agendas are over there, I believe, but the minutes and the budget and other documents available to the public. We have been asked numerous times to do that. So I'd like to have us start with maybe 3 copies or 5 copies. And if they all disappear and people appreciate it, great. We could there's a recycle box if they, you know, want to get rid of them before they go home. But I think we should look at doing that. And I also believe that we need a speaker. I mean, everything doesn't have to have wires to it, but we need a speaker over either right there or right there somewhere so that people can hear what we say a little easier, especially Bob, who has a really nice, quiet voice. And so I'd like to see us look at those. So if of the items I bring up, if you agree, it should be a subject on the agenda for another meeting or for action, please, you know, speak up so that Eric can keep track of that and our secretary can keep track of that. Somebody mentioned where it was mentioned in our training about AI and AI in the schools. And OSPI has just put out a document that tells all about AI. It's brand new, just came out January 18th. And I have the cover page of it somewhere, and if anybody's interested, I'll try to find it.
Shared that with you in last month's.
Yes.
superintendent report.
And I printed, yes, and I printed it out so we could share with the public, so they would, so everybody would know what it looked like and if they wanted to go find it. And then I do think that we should talk about these outside, any outside flyers. I think it's probably, because that might require an action area, you might want another point on the agenda, but I do think that we should not distribute flyers from that don't have anything to do with our school districts, not sponsored by our school district, ESD, the state, or another school district. At least until we can find what kind of policy we might already have and see if that policy meets our needs or needs to be revised. So I think we should put a temporary hold on any distribution of any flyers that are not related to school specifically.
I don't.
I'd hate to have some kind of what happens is the perception.
Sure.
So I'd hate to have a suit of liability, even though it might not be a suit one. I
Sure.
still hate to have it.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, and to me, like this particular flyer, it's. If we're gonna distribute a flyer, I think that should be clear. Right, it's almost better that it listed that than if there was a. Then if it did list that, but that was the policy. Parents need to be able to make clear, informed decisions. And we could go with the whole.
I don't think we should.
Flyer around
Yeah.
that we're, but I don't, what more information, but there's a lot of, this is one that I really gonna look, I'm gonna look for like comments from teachers and staff, what that impact would be.
Can I just say something real quick? So I looked back at my emails and Kayleen had sent an email, just saying that they had this program going on. So I probably printed the flyer and sent and gave it to the two girls. So, because I think it's a fantastic opportunity,
Sure,
keeping my personal views out of it.
sure.
Or at least have someone proofread for.
But, that puts us into a situation of
Editorial.
judging
Right,
something that they may feel that they're fulfilling a state mandate or something. I think we just need to stay out of it. I mean, I have to say, the Institute's awesome. Absolutely awesome. But, that choice is something that we don't want to be in the middle of. And it's not a school district event. It's not school district funded. We're not, raising money to send a child or anything. We just should stay out. Are there other flyers of other organizations that, the school has passed out in other years or,
yeah, I'm just wondering what kind of policy we have.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what
it's like,
That's what I was trying to.
when we do the Wings Challenge, and we tell them to send that out, they put together a team, that's not really a school event, right? And they go and build.
That's a club, yes.
Right, and so.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
So I think that, when it comes to clubs, we should have a vetting process. Things like this, maybe they should go to the parent teachers group to evaluate them if they want, but, so I suggested that we put a temporary hold on distributing anything until we have time to check our policy and to see, so we can discuss how we may want to revise our policy if it needs revision. Do we actually have a policy? I don't know, that's why I said that we do a temporary hold until we find out.
If there was anything, it would be in a procedure.
And I'd be interested to know how many other things like this have come up, because
How often does it send out?
Oh, yeah, I don't think it's.
Once in a great while.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say,
as far as that type on there, I mean, that information. That's probably the first one.
when they leave out information
Right.
on the flyer. How do you find out?
But again,
So,
like, if we, it's like, if we gave out the flyer and didn't have that on there, that's still the
Right.
policy, that's worse.
So.
Parents, right? Parents need to be able to make a-
Yes, but I think in the same sense, I mean, I'm thinking about activities that I suggested that are outside of the school to my classroom. Last year, there was an opportunity for to go see an Ozzy show. Ozzy's trusted, and just like this company or this organization is just as well trusted, right? And so I made that suggestion. It was on a Saturday, so, you know, hey, you should go to this Ozzy show. You know, any number of things could have happened at that show at Ozzy. It's not school sponsored, it's not, but it was a suggestion. So, where do you draw the line and where do you?
right, because some of our kids are not gonna hear about any of this, that's a great opportunity, so. So, that's part of it, yeah.
So why don't we ask our superintendent to review the policy and procedures and recommend any needed changes to the procedure that, in my terminology, would provide vetting of anything to be
Right.
distributed or announced to the kids. Does that sound reasonable, Bob? Like, how do you find the policy that are the procedures?
Well, I mean, another option is. When it comes down to like parents' rights, parents' choices, is there a way for parents to have some like idea of what's in the of that, but approve what other kids are doing?
And not necessarily that we are promoting it, but we are giving us an opportunity for them to choose if they're.
So I think that's really important that the parents aren't surprised though. Yeah.
So Bob was a lot of weight on it would be part of procedures.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should just get a recommendation from him until that time. Let's put a hold on it unless somebody goes to Bob and Bob says. Whatever Bob says.
Well, I think you've already touched on this, that it's important that we consider how information is perceived when it's distributed by the district, by the school. Is this something that's promoted by the school? And that might be the perception. The flyer is produced from a school employee presented to a student sent home. That would be the perception. So it's important then, of course, that the school be aware of and that approval be issued for anything being provided to students. How was that approved? And making sure that there is a process that ensures that something that is promoted by the school or that information provided by the school, that it be clear about whether that's something the school is facilitating or what the originating source is. So, and just making sure that that process exists, that everything is reviewed and approved before being distributed. So it's communicated
I
clearly.
think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think that we need clear messaging of
Yeah.
where it's coming from and what's coming from the school. But we also have to have a way for parents. Yeah, we have to have a way for parents to have input, or not just input, but control over what types of things are given to their kids.
And I think, Bob, that it's especially in a situation where we're printing it and handing out it to the kids. We're printing it on our copy machine.
Well,
So.
we may or may not. This might have been an ESD. I don't even know where this came from. It might have been something facilitated by ESD 112.
No, this one came by email to teachers
Okay.
from Kayleen. Right.
Kayleen sent one out, but I also am part of the Mount St. Helens Institute
Okay.
email. So I had it through that too,
Mhm.
but then received an email, not with the flyer again. Check this out on their website.
Yeah.
So I
And
wasn't,
we would all think it's wonderful because
Right.
we love the institute,
Right.
but we have to get back to the parents' choice. What, and knowing the details, so, yeah.
We should also hold that the parents on getting any kind of flyer would check out. Unnecessary.
Oh, no, that tiny little print, I saw the flyer, it's puny little print. And do you know what CSI means?
Sis,
You know, it's so it is, it's a real challenge. So Bob, do you need some direction from the board on this, or do you feel good?
No, I think you're clear. And I'll look into whether or not a procedure exists, and if not, draft a process.
Because you want to protect your teachers too. Anybody here is, gets that information on. That's.
Okay, the other thing that I had was that if you didn't see it, ESD and put on our website, or we put on our website for them, that applications for appointment to fill our vacant position are due to ESD 112 before 4 p.m. on February 20th. You need to contact them and get the application. And then interviews will be done on February 27th at 5:30 p.m. at the ESD 112 board meeting. In case anybody wants to know that. I don't know if,
So that information is posted out front. There's got public information bulletin board outside the school. It's posted there. Both newspapers, website.
yeah, it wasn't
Yes.
in last week's paper, so I'm sure it'll be in this week's. Yeah. Let's see, and so, I don't know about you guys, if somebody might be interested in going, I don't know. What were you gonna say, Bill?
So that new people are gonna be running for it, are we gonna revoke or is that?
there's selecting somebody. They'll put somebody on board.
Yeah, they're gonna vote. We don't get to vote. They're gonna vote and pick one. So that's why it's important, if anybody interested, fill out the ESD application. Let's see. And somebody in the public mentioned term limits. We could bring up policy 1210 again for consideration. Certainly after we have another board member on board, to see if there's any board member interested in any kind of change to that policy. So let's see, flyers, term limits, outside info. Put another speaker up so everybody can hear. Copies of documents, fire truck. I guess I covered everything that was on my list. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, board.
I think we should have, basically a few extra board packets, and we'll see if anybody wants or uses them. And
Yeah,
go from there.
Yeah, there's a few things that don't need to be in there, the signature pages and all that. But the minutes and the things that,
And if there's people who regularly want it, I would encourage that they reach out to Bob ahead of time, so they'd be like. hey,
Yeah,
I'd
'cause
like to have a
Bob-
packet.
because Lisa has hard copies available at the office for us, if we, I think so, doesn't she? For us. if we want it.
Our board packet, how expensive it is.
Well, I like hard copy because I review it online, but I don't have any way to really write good notes, to follow up with my questions. So I print it out, but it's a lot of paper.
It is. And how much is paper
Or you
page?
could just come over to school if you stop by, that's what I do every month, just this afternoon or the Friday before, lots of times it's ready. I just come over and get my packet and then give my folder back to Bob, and the stuff, and I have it already.
Oh, you get your paper,
I
packet early and bring it here. So he doesn't have to.
I don't, yeah. Then I've got a hard copy and I can, it's easier, like you said, to see it rather than online and have to print it out. Cause then we've got two copies, me copying one, and copy and then the school. So,
Well,
All
I mean,
right,
we're both wanting to, I mean, not be wasteful. But then also wanting to make sure that we're providing interested information. So if perhaps if we just simply notify the community that if they're interested in board meeting related documents, they could come to the school and print copies. I guess the board would have to decide whether or not the board wants to pay for providing those to the community, or if they want the community to pay for the printing costs like they do in other situations.
I think if parents are as busy as I am, they don't have time to stop by the school. And I know it sounds real simple but not in my life.
What's our listed cost per page?
I don't have that many memorized.
What is it?
I,
20 cents?
I don't know.
no, for asking for what someone of the public, a community member of the public would need to pay for a printed copy.
Per page.
Per page.
It's in a policy, I don't remember. We
Oh,
approved it.
no, yeah, we review that annually.
like 15 cents or
No, it might be 5 cents. We're not trying to make,
I think it's what we're
I think we're responsible for informing the
Okay,
public. I
telling
really
you.
hate to charge.
it
but
might
we
be more
could
if it's
double-
color, but a black and white copy is not
Could
that
be
much.
doing
currently.
double-sided. I mean, if you're reading
Yeah.
this report, if you just flip it over and you could have
I don't know if we have to double sign all that payrolls, I mean, and accounts payables.
Would you like for it all to be made public on the website?
Well, we're like, this is all gonna be public on board docs, but we're asking for, people would like it. What do we pay? What's our per page rate for, because we pay per page, right, with our contract copy?
We pay per click through the machine. And then there's per page per paper. I don't have that all off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it's only a cent or two.
So, I mean,
Maybe that's something to revisit. It's.
Well, I want,
Well, I
how
suggested,
how many people would want the full board docs?
we try next meeting and have it all
That's good.
available and see what they use and what they like and what is a benefit.
So that was 5. Let's
Can that just,
prepare.
like, the link to them, just be emailed to us and then we on our own print them? I don't know.
Some of the stuff, there is stuff we haven't approved.
Yeah, but it's still public record for the end, isn't it?
Yes, everything is public record.
It's public
Nothing
record,
here,
it's public
everything here is
records.
public record.
Our minutes are official after we've.
so they're draft, non-approved. I'm saying I can make all of those materials available and viewable through the website. So that way, everyone could know where they're at. They're in the same place every time. Go look at them, find them all if you want. And emailing them, and you're talking about attaching a whole bunch of PDFs or emailing the link is there. So we can make digital copies available to everybody. We would,
It's possible.
yeah,
But let's,
For sure.
I mean, maybe
Mhm.
we're gonna back off on it, but let's have 5 packets extra for the next meeting. I think that's not a bad idea.
And I think draft minutes are important if we're gonna put people's names in here.
Yep. And I still would encourage all of us, like, I think this discussion about what we hand out at the school is an important discussion we just had. If we can find a way to get those into the minutes, so if anybody know or into the agenda, so that anybody wants to be here to comment on that, they know we're gonna be talking about that. Let's try to get whatever we can into the agenda as possible.
So if you think, you might have something by the next meeting or whatever meeting you would have something for us. Let's make sure it's an agenda item.
Ditto.
So last month, we talked about the wood. I didn't understand what the outcome about that was.
On the wood, what was the
The trees.
Talking about the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trees that.
The law.
Um, so the board, it's clear that you wanted some form of public notice, so that any interested parties could submit some kind of, application. I talked it over with Tim. He thinks there's easily less than a half a cord of wood there. So,
Well,
however it goes down, the two people, it's interesting, you said something about what being available to senior citizens, saying the two individuals, the two community members who have offered to clean it up and take the wood and the branches and get it all cleaned up are both senior citizens. So it would be going to a community member who is a senior senator trying to, could make use of the wood and benefit the district, but everything was still buried in snow. So we're waiting until we get past the snow. People can be out there working on it. We'll publish all of that, find a way, the interested parties can be clear about the expectations. You have to sign off on the liability waiver provided by ESU and 12. We'll establish the date. We can come work, clean it up, take the wood, everybody's happy. So that'll be coordinated in April or so, once the snow is gone and it's dry.
No.
Well, I'm sorry, that's a lot of work that you have to go through, but I think it's a fair way to go through unless we do it like the county does. And the county does the cleanup and the chainsawing, and then they just leave it there for seniors to collect it. But they don't double check to make sure they're seniors, and hopefully they're collecting it for seniors who cannot cut their own, but. So they just kind of leave it up to what happens once it's
That might be
piled.
the parks department. When I was on the road crew, we used to put them off in right away, but off the road, a safe place. And first come, first served.
Whoever takes it, takes it. Yeah. Get it in the county right away, let it go.
So, yep, you're working on all those signatures. I need all of those.
I forgot to send them.
From everyone.
Everything's so interesting. You get sidetracked.
Oh, I don't need the draft, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah,
Give that
we
back.
give that back to her.
Anybody else? All right,
Well.
public comment.
Yes, I was just wondering. So. I wasn't here in the last board meeting. I don't know if we talked about cutting the tree down. We got some big quotes on that. And I don't know, we didn't talk about whether.
It's,
Ask the board or.
it's just at a point where we're building the budget. We have to know what we're budgeting, so,
Okay.
I'm working with- no,
Yeah, no,
it's not a board, man.
I didn't really understand what your question was again.
well, I just wondering if you. Obviously, I guess you don't have the money appropriately to take trees.
Aren't the trees already down?
Oh, to take
Oh, yeah.
the tree.
Different trees that need to come down.
So falling the tree itself, Bob, is that part of our thing we're gonna put out there?
No. I
He's
guess
talking about something completely different.
Oh, different.
take out the pine tree and the big fir tree next to the school, the bus barn. I just wondered whether that wasn't a process.
And did
It's
somebody come
you and
up
me,
talk
Tim.
to us whether
That's
or
where
not
it's at
they
in
could help
process.
us with that? Did the DNR guy come up?
No.
That's something totally different. Tim and I are working on gathering quotes for the district so we can deal with some trees that need removed.
So we're gonna hire somebody to take them down?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Huge trees right next to buildings.
Oh, yeah, I think I'm supposed to sign this.
So I got a couple other things. So one, I got film on all the glass windows, on all the doors. And I'm very happy with how they turned out, and it's increased the security of this building a lot.
That's pretty
Thank you.
cool.
That is
I
cool.
like
Yeah.
that. Very cool.
And did you have something else? And then we'll move on to.
I did have something else, but I forgot what it was.
All right,
Oh, you're
Keith,
getting my
I just
disease.
got a question. So you have an outside entity gonna pick the one position that's open, right?
that's right.
For the board member.
Yep.
Right, so if there's more than the two that were here last month.
Yep.
Then there's 3 or 4, whatever there is. The question is, are the 4 of you going to have any kind of input?
Nope.
No, not at all.
Input on, mean who's selected?
Yeah.
No, Bob will handle all that for us
No.
on our behalf.
ESD 112,
Yes,
all ESD.
Oh, you're talking, I thought you were talking about trees still.
No, the board member.
I'm sorry, Keith.
No, I'm talking about board. A board.
Oopsie daisy.
Log member.
Is there an anticipation that there's gonna be more than the 2 we have here?
I've not heard anything.
So really, at this point, it's out of your hands.
Right.
So the selection is gonna be at the ESD board meeting.
Yep.
Okay, so I was looking on the website, I don't think that was clear. I mean, I thought there was gonna be a special board meeting here on the 27th, but not.
No.
So I've actually got my application already in, I've talked to Sarah and everything. So the option actually is, here on Zoom or down there, either or.
Sure.
You don't have to go down there if you don't want to.
For the board meeting.
No, for the,
Application.
for the-
Yeah.
for the-
For the
yeah,
interview.
for the interview.
So the ESD board meets at the administration building in Vancouver, but they're going to have a Zoom option, so people being interviewed can participate by Zoom if they don't want to drive to Vancouver. And I assume people can observe the meeting as well via Zoom.
This is the first I've heard of that. I haven't been asked by ESD 12 to host anything, but I'd be willing to do so.
Do your.
Sure.
If so requested, but
If you're-
I,
If anybody requests that, I
Okay.
think you should help
I got that.
any way you can in the selection process.
Because they could Zoom from their home or wherever they wanted when
Right.
it's Zoom.
Mhm.
And I'm sure their board meetings are always available by Zoom, so probably not anything new for them. It's just whether or not we wanted to make this room available, and I hadn't thought about that.
Well, you're already all set up for it.
not on the 27th.
Okay, that answers
Oh,
that
but-
question.
No, but,
Maybe you'll have to talk to you.
I'll- I'll check with,
Their expectation.
Hold those phone numbers, they have.
it's 9,
Nine.
I think so.
Nine board members.
It's either 7 or
Pretty
9.
good sized board, so it must be.
Any other public comments? Let's move on to policy. 2190, 2190, second read, ICAP, private flexible programs.
So it was back in December when the board first reviewed these new recommended changes. So just revisiting the proposed revisions categorized as essential by WASDA. And it states that the law does not require that all students be screened, but rather the districts must universally screen for only 2 elementary grades instead of all students every year. And then there's also a requirement for multiple objective criteria and multiple pathways. So those are the only changes reflected. The board asked for some clarification there. And so you should have access to both a markup and a clean copy of that. This is a markup copy, has this. Do you have something like this?
I do.
So the blue is what's recommended new language to actually be in compliance as required by law. And you can see that it states that as that the screening would be at 2 grade levels. And that the plan identify and place the students that are being universally screened. Now, so those are the only recommended changes to the policy. Right there. That's it.
I'm pretty sure you answered me last time, but do we have students participating in highly capable program currently?
We do not have students identified as high cap this year. No, there have been a few over the past few years. And the ways in which we have served those students is highlighted there.
I read through that.
This
whole thing.
combination, well, yeah, there's a lot. The ways in which we've met high cap, well, we don't have a designated high cap teacher. We receive historically all of like $500, something you can't even barely, you can maybe purchase some software licensing for that. So a lot of the policy is structured around large districts where they have full-time, highly capable program directors. Every school has a full-time, highly capable teacher that is managing a program for dozens of kids that come from the hundreds in the school. The way that we've managed that in our little school is by either offering advanced work within the regular classroom as provided by the teacher. Some of our older students have received advanced instruction by a PCIA instructor. The most common example is 7th or 8th graders who are advanced in mathematics and are able to receive high school instruction by Dr. Harb with the PCIA math class.
Thank you. I
There's-
remember that you explaining that to us before, but if you need 600 instead of 500 or something like that, let's just put it in the budget and see what happens. But right now, we're doing good with our 500.
There's some other online learning opportunities that some students have received with facilitated by a teacher or the high cap program director. One example recently was a student who was designated as a high cap in language, had a specific interest in Korean. So we made some time available, some supervised time available for that student to receive Korean language instruction through highly recommended software program. And then just so happens that one of our PCI instructors is semi-fluent in Korean and would check in every once in a while with that student.
Well,
But
there's-
that's how we meet those needs.
There's several good programs out there, including the ones you hear advertised all the time, and the military actually use them. They can build a Babel or whatever, and whatever the other one is.
So when we've had ICAP students in the past,
Mhm.
have they entered this program through the universal screening or has it just been by referral?
Well, that it's really, think about it like a two-step process. The universal screener is. I've talked about Star 360 testing.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Testing all of our students. And so we use that basically if we can recognize a student that we might not be familiar with. Let's say a student's new to us this year and running assessments in the fall, and oh wow, this kid's off the charts in math. And then we would go on to the screening process. There's a whole nother layer of
So it's even
assessment.
more than just two grades then, in essence, even though two is required.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to start at 360. Yeah, grades 1 through, well, really K through 8. But what the littlest ones can do is kind of that.
All right.
Hmm.
Any other questions or discussions of policy 2190, 2192, how we think of the program? Discussing 2205, sexual harassment of students prohibited.
Now, in December, I inadvertently provided you a clean copy instead of a markup copy. I was talking about these few places where the appeals process needed to be revised. And I'm referring to the highlighted sections, and you're all saying what highlighted sections. I actually gave you a clean copy, my apologies. So you now have, do you have a highlighted copy of?
No, but it's the procedure only that's.
It
being
is only the
modified, so you
procedure,
can just-
and there's, yeah, that's right. There's not very much.
Just-
There's
Yeah.
not very much. The only
Yeah, just
changes
like-
have to do with the appeal process and the requirement that the appeal process, that the decision maker in the appeal process not be involved in the initial complaint or investigation. And so specifically for small districts, who here in our building hasn't already been involved in the process? Well, everybody is. So how is the appeals process going to work? And so, as you can see, the recommendation, this was brought to light in the use of ESD 112. See, there's not a whole lot of change. There it is. Rather than having the complaint process just cycle back to the very same people, well, me, we don't have layers of administration here. So that's the change, is that the ESD 112 legal department or their designee, they might assign someone to manage that appeal process. That is the change to this
I think
procedure.
that's the second one.
We're super fortunate to have their support and this way again.
I know, but I can see it up there.
So yeah, that's,
Do you need a clean one?
I just think if you wanted to.
No, I don't need it because I remember when he was showing it to the board.
All right. Any discussion
What is it?
regarding 2205? I have a motion to approve policy 2190, acknowledge receipt of related procedures. And acknowledge receipt of 3205 feet.
Did you ask for a motion?
I did.
I will let them.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 7:30 PM. Wow.
On the dot.
Do we have any take on,
Finish this